You know, there's a strange quiet that's settled over the world of Rayclass lately. Not the kind of silence that comes after a final boss is defeated, more like the uneasy pause right before the next one shows up. And if you've been paying attention to Path of Exile, or Path of Exile 2 for that matter, you know exactly what I mean. Both games right now are in what I'd call a holding pattern, not dead, not even struggling, but certainly waiting. You can feel it in the community, you can see it in the forums, and if you check the SteamDB charts like I do, you can see something even more curious: the player counts. They're not bad, but they're not what most of us thought they would be. Over the last month, Path of Exile 1 has been hovering between 122 and 179,000 concurrent players, depending on the time of day. That's a healthy number for a game over a decade old. And Path of Exile 2, despite a rocky early access launch, it has managed to retain a consistent 17 to 38,500 players daily, and that's just on Steam. Now, for Path of Exile 2, that is a healthy nosedive if you compare it to over the 246,000 that logged in on April 6th. And in this video, this is going to be the premise of what we're going to talk about today. Let's start with the obvious. Both PoE 1 and PoE 2 are right now what I would say maintenance mode in the minds of most players. Not in the sense that Grinding Gear Games has abandoned them, quite the opposite actually, but emotionally, from the community side, they've become games we're here to wait and see what it looks like, rather than games we automatically jump into without hesitation and are addicted to. You see, the automatic W in GGG's games has lost some shine, and for some, it's causing uncertainty. Now, don't get me wrong, people are still playing, leagues are still being engaged with, builds are still being theory crafted, hardcore deaths are still being clipped, but there's no momentum, not yet. That's because everyone, whether they'll admit it or not, is waiting for something big, for something profound, for a patch that just doesn't fix things, but finally makes one or both of these games feel whole again. Let's talk about Path of Exile 1 for a moment. This game is, in many ways, in the healthiest place it's been in years. Despite the resource drain during Path of Exile 2's early access development, GGG has managed to continue delivering a polished, reliable product. The recent return of regular leagues like Secrets of the Atlas 3.26 have proven that Grinding Gear Games knows how to rally the community. They understand what makes PoE 1 click: its speed, its loot explosions, its league mechanics, layered on top of years of content that by some miracle still mostly work together. But here's the rub. As good as PoE 1 is, it's also a known quantity, a finished formula. It's not stale, but it's no longer surprising. The community knows what to expect, and GGG knows how to deliver it. That's not a bad thing. That's stability. But it also means that excitement now only comes in short bursts, when a league hits hard or fades fast when it doesn't. Still, if you had to be on one of the two games to deliver a league that re-engages the community overnight, you'd bet on Path of Exile 1, and you wouldn't be wrong. Now let's turn to Path of Exile 2. Let's be honest, this game has had a very, very rough start. Not in terms of player interest. People wanted this game. People still want it. But the execution has been uneven. The early access launch brought with it hope, excitement, and an entirely new ARPG experience. And then reality set in. Loot was stingy, crafting was RNG heavy and punishing. Builds were limited, Endgame content lacked staying power. The campaign, while cinematic and engaging at first, became repetitive once players had to loop through the same acts in different difficulties. The feedback came fast and fierce. GGG responded patch after patch, most notably 0.2 and its follow-ups have brought us closer to what PoE 2 could be. Loot drops have been improved. Wisps now drop actual currency. Rogue exiles have been tweaked. Socketable crafting is getting refinements. You can feel GGG listening, adapting, even if the road is long. And the most important thing, they finally committed to something we've all been waiting for: a steady, consistent content release schedule. A new content drop every 2 months for both games. That's ambitious, that's bold, and that might be the very thing that changes the trajectory of Path of Exile 2 from promising but flawed to a must-play in the ARPG space. Which brings us to the next big moment. Patch 0.3, scheduled for August. This is the turning point. This is the moment where GGG can rewrite the narrative. Because let's face it, PoE 2 has had a lot of almost great combat, almost great loot, almost great endgame, Patch 0.3 has the chance to finally bring those almost into alignment. We don't yet know the full details of what's coming, but the expectation, in my humble opinion, is massive. The community wants at least one new act to be added, ideally Act 4 or 5, to break the monotony of repeating the first 3 acts in both normal and cruel difficulty. They want meaningful crafting improvements. They want ascendancy variety. They want build diversity, new classes, and a refined, exciting endgame that offers challenge without feeling like punishment. Dare I say, they want fun. In other words, they want a Path of Exile 2 to find its identity. Patch 0.3 doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to matter. If it hits, it could mark the beginning of PoE 2's real climb. That's the moment the players who stepped away might start coming back, not just to test the waters, but to dive back in. Here's what makes the situation so unique. GGG is now running 2 live ARPGs, each with their own communities, expectations, and roadmaps. That's never been done quite like this before. Other studios have tried sequels, but PoE's approach is different. It's a shared engine, a shared infrastructure, but different philosophies. Path of Exile 1 is fast-paced, high loot trips. PoE 2 is about thoughtful, deliberate combat and immersive gameplay loops. They're both valid, but they're both hard to balance. Here's the good news. With consistent 2-month updates, Grinding Gear Games finally has a system in place. And once that system starts firing on all cylinders, we might finally reach the state players have wanted. 2 thriving Path of Exile games, each doing their own thing, each serving their own audience. So where does that leave us? The truth is, we're in the eye of a storm. Not in a bad way, but in that quiet moment when the structure is built, the foundation is laid, and everyone's holding their breath for the next big thing. The numbers say the games are alive. The devs say updates are coming. And the community, we're watching. We're waiting. So the question now is simple. Will patch 3 be the moment that Path of Exile 2 finally steps in its own light? Will it be the update that ends the holding pattern and begins the ascent? And if it does, what does that mean for Path of Exile as a franchise, as a legacy? I don't have the answers, not yet, but one thing's for sure. We're about to find out. All right, everybody. If you enjoyed this breakdown or you're just as curious about the future of PoE as I am, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next video. Let's keep this conversation going. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to catch my live thoughts, reactions, and even my current Secrets of the Atlas journey in real time, come hang out with me on Twitch TV SamyCaps. We talk Path of Exile and everything in between. And actually, we talk about both games every night. Until then, stay safe. Thanks for watching. And the storm's just getting started. The opinions expressed in this video are mine and solely mine. Healthy debate is always encouraged. Hate is never welcomed. So get over it.